What's up, everybody? We're back here on the ANS podcast. We took a little bit of a hiatus, personal things happening in real life. You know, real life comes first, but no worries. We are back here. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jesus. How are you doing, man? I know you've been gone for a few more weeks than me, but how excited are you to get back into the swing of things?
Man, it's interesting, man, because dude, I'm so excited to be back, man. I'm so excited to talk about all these fights. There's so much stuff going on in the world of MMA and wrestling, for that matter, as well. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff going on in wrestling as well.
Yep.
And there's just so much stuff going on. We had an NBA champion crown. We got the MLB playoffs. I mean, there's just so much stuff to talk about, and it's so much fun talking. And I haven't been able to, you know, because like you said, life and whatnot. But you know, things are kind of settling in now, and hopefully we'll be on this little stretch towards the end of the year and be consistent throughout the rest of the year, man, because there's still a lot more stuff coming.
Yeah, man, there's so much going on. You know, we're in the midst of NFL season. You know, the divisions and the contenders are starting to round themselves out, I think. A lot of fight announcements recently. We had just two today, two big time fights that were just announced today, which I can't wait to get into those. Probably start those out before we get into the cards. But before we get into all that, we're gonna go ahead and start with what we always start with, which is what are you watching? And since you've been gone for a while, man, I'll let you go first with your TV show. What's the TV show that you want to talk about?
A TV show that I want to talk about, man, and it's just because it's October, and yeah, I guess this has to do with October. I went back and I hadn't finished it. I know it's been a while since it's been done and completed, but I went back and I saw the last season of The Strain on Hulu. And had you seen that? Have you seen The Strain before or no?
I have not seen The Strain. I've heard good things about it, but I have not ever watched it.
Yeah, so it's a. I mean, I think it started off really strong. Corey Stroll basically, you know, carried that show because he was the main guy for a long time. He did have some good actors, and you can tell that they grew throughout the 4 seasons. I don't know why I stopped, maybe because I didn't have access to it, but the 4th season, if I remember correctly, they didn't want it to be the last season, but Corey Stroll didn't want to do it anymore, so they kind of just, you know, wrapped it up. And
don't have a choice at that point.
Yeah, and I want to say it wasn't bad. It was good. It wasn't great. I wish there would have been more, man. I mean, it's executive produced by Guillermo del Toro, and it's based on his story and his vision for it, I guess. You know, it's just a different take on vampires and things of that nature, and what they would do if they had a like a king, basically, that can manipulate them. So it was good, man. I recommend it. It's interesting. I love vampires, werewolves, living dead things, stuff like that. So it's the month for that. So that's what I watched. And then also to keep in the same theme, about 2 days ago, sat down with the family. We watched Hubie Halloween on Netflix. It's actually a fun movie. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but it's just fun. It's Halloween. It's Adam Sandler going from Uncut Gems to this guy with the face and the craziness that he's known for. We counted about 34 celebrity cameos total, or something of that nature. Some with big parts, some with small parts. But it was just interesting, man. And at the end, he did do a what is it called? Like in memory of or for Cameron Boyce, because he was he was part. I guess he considered him part of the Billy Madison, or the whatever his productions company is.
Happy Madison.
Happy Madison, whatever it is. Happy Madison, part of their crew, because he did a movie with them back in 2014 or something like that. So it was fun, man. It was a fun movie. You know, palate cleanser, Halloween, kind of get you in the mood. Pretty cool. Oh, and a quick thing too about that movie. It was filmed, or it is filmed, or it's based in Salem, and I actually got a chance to go to Salem about 3 years ago, and it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool seeing it on there. I haven't seen a lot of movies based there. The museum, they were in the museum, the Salem Witch Trial Museum, so it's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool little thing.
Is it eerie being over there in Salem? Like, is it weird?
I guess it was at night, but not necessarily during the day. We went during the day, but
Oh,
we stayed there. We stayed there at night to kind of get the vibe and the ambiance. But now, man, I mean, it just feels like small town America, man, really. And there's this place right next to it, which is like a port or a harbor, and it's beautiful, man. It was beautiful out there. We went and had a dinner at a restaurant right there. And I mean, it's one of the best dinners we've had, not from just a food standpoint, but from kind of the view and how small town local it felt. It was pretty cool.
that's awesome, man. All right, well, I'll go ahead and talk about mine. So I don't really have a movie. Maybe I'll bring up a movie that this is Halloween. Even whenever Ace was on, I hadn't watched the movie, but I can bring up one of my favorite horror movies. But I'll start with TV shows first. And me and my girlfriend, we watched The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh
We
man,
finished it up.
how was that?
It's good. It's not. I would probably still put Hill House above it. I think Hill House has the scares. But Bly Manor is definitely a more emotional story. You probably connect to it more on an emotional level. There are certain characters in the show where you're just like your heart breaks for them. So yeah, it's definitely worth a watch, man. Especially if you watch. I mean, if you're a fan of Hill House, if you're a fan of Mike Flanagan, which I am actually a huge fan of Mike Flanagan. Probably one of my favorite horror directors out there working today. So and you see the same cast of actors and actresses from Hill House. Yeah, Carla Gugino. You got I always forget his name, but the guy who played. I mean, he played. He was Elliot in E.T., but now he's older now. Who played the dad, and the girl from You, who was also in Hill House. Basically, everyone that was from Hill House was in Hill House was in this one, just playing different characters, which is always fun to see. It's got that. That's what I like about it too. It's got that American Horror style, American Horror Story style, like of what do they call? I'm always forgetting. I'm always blanking what they're called. Anthology. Yeah, there you go. The anthology of seeing the same cast of characters, but playing different characters. So fun.
Yeah, man, that's like but at the same time too, is like they're good at they're good at horror, they're good at getting those emotions across, so that's why you want to see them in there, man. What do you think about you said horror director? What do you think about Scott Derrickson, man? I think he did what was it, Sinister?
It's really the only one I know. I know he's done more, but I don't really know much. I love Sinister. I love the first I guess the first three, I mean two-thirds of it. And then it kind of falls off at the end for Sinister. It's but like leading up to that ending, it just kind of falls flat for me. The movie is it was going up to like a plus
movie,
like 4.5 type movie, and then it kind of it lands with a dud. It's not even like it makes it bad. It's just kind of
you're expecting more.
Yeah, like when it comes out, like, oh, it's this thing called Bagul, which is like, okay, maybe, okay, I'm a little bit on. And like, he does this to like kids and he wants to like, and then but the thing is, in order for this to happen, they have to go into this house, but then move into their old house. You're just like, oh, I don't know. But I mean, Scott Derrickson, I think he's good as I actually like what he's done more. Because I know he's like, that's what he's known for is horror, but I think I'd only seen Sinister, so I can actually look up some of Scott Derrickson's work and watch. I'm gonna end up like loving all of his work.
Yeah, he has a lot of good stuff, man.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Let's see Wikipedia.
I think he's working on another one right now with because the writer is somebody, the writer who did that. It's an original horror. I forgot what his name.
Oh, so he did Exorcism of Emily Rose. I love that movie. You have Sinister, Deliver Us from Evil. Didn't watch that, and Doctor Strange. So he's like more of a, I guess more like others like more like side stuff or indie stuff. So I haven't really seen much of it. I never watched Sinister 2. It just never felt the need to. But love Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is good, and well, he works with this guy who's a writer named C. Robert Cargill, and he's the one who co-wrote Sinister, and he wrote Doctor Strange. And so he announced like a month or two ago, probably a month ago, that they're working on another one that he says is going to be just like Sinister but better or something like that. So
sweet. Movies. Let's see. Let's talk about one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And we're gonna go ahead and talk. It Chapter 1. I love it. I need to go back and rewatch it.
The remake?
Yeah, It Chapter 1.
Yeah,
It Chapter 1. Love it.
Well, what do you think about those movies, man? That are like, and I don't know. I got to see some more because like we wouldn't have T3 without T2, right? No, I'm sorry, T1 or without T2, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah,
the It Chapter 2 doesn't hold a candle basically to It Chapter 1, right?
Yeah,
but you have to finish the story. You know what I'm saying? So that's what sucks about it. And I just wouldn't want part 2 to take away how good part 1 was, man. You know, overall.
I would actually kind of disagree. You don't necessarily need to complete the story. You can, and it does like. And I enjoy both. I don't enjoy obviously the second one more than the first one, but I enjoy both at the same time. But I think one stands on its own. Whereas I think if you're gonna watch 2, you might have to watch 1. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like. But like to me, with Infinity War, you got to watch Endgame. Yeah, right? You got to complete that. That'd be a horrible way to end on. Yeah. Not in terms of like it's a bad movie. It's just like, oh, that's so depressing.
Well, yeah, but why can't we just have a movie end like that, man? Like, do you remember the movie Requiem of a Dream?
I mean, I think I've watched it once a long time ago, and I know it's bad, and
yeah, dude, it's just it's a good movie. I mean, it's a good movie. It's well shot. It's well written. But it's not a happy movie. It's just a bad, like, sad or horrible movie, like, of the dangers of that stuff, you know? So, I don't know. Why can't we have more movies like that, man?
You're not wrong. But, like, It Chapter 1 isn't that. Like, It Chapter 1 has that it has the happy ending. It's got the, all the kids, they defeat it, and you could finish the movie, boom, like that. You don't necessarily need Chapter 2. But if you want to see, if you know the lore of it, you're like, okay, he's not dead. Like, come on, let's watch where it goes. And that's how I was thinking about it. And I still enjoyed 2. Some of the most bloody. I think it Chapter 2 is way bloodier than Chapter 1. You have the like straight up horror scene in the House of Mirrors with that kid. Like, that's terrifying. And like the blood, and you see the blood, like literally as soon as he like eats into the kid, you see literally all the blood squirt on the damn mirror. It's insane.
Yeah, man, that was something like I was thinking. I was watching. No, he's not gonna do it. Like, he's gonna save him.
Nope. Yeah, nope. Dead. But it's still great, and I still enjoy Chapter 2. But Chapter 1 definitely for me. I think all the kids worked so well together. I mean, what can I say about Bill Skarsgård? Like, goddamn, dude! Like, the fact that some of the contortions of his face, he does that. Like, that's real. The fact that he can roll his eye or he can cross his eyes the way Pennywise does, but even like the nuance of his performances of like the random while he's talking, he like just goes into a like that because he's not a human being. He's not. He's a creature playing a human being. Yeah, but he doesn't know how to like keep that act on the entire time. Yeah, and it's just little nuances like that. The drool coming out of his mouth, and while he's talking to Georgie. Oh, I love it. It's just little things here and there like you can just pick out and enjoy more and more with each one. On the last one, me and Ace talked Hereditary, and I mentioned how like to me Hereditary is one of those movies that I can watch over and over, not like miss and not like get bored. And I know it's like a very downtrodden movie, but it's one of those ones that I go back to all the time.
Yeah, I agreed, man. But that's the guy too. What's his name? Alex something.
That's Ari Aster.
Ari Aster, he did Midsommar as well.
And I don't love Midsommar as much as I love Hereditary. I think Midsommar is a little like what is it? Uptight, like kind of like I'm better than you, like type of movie, I guess. Like it's
really?
It's very art house to me. Like it's an extremely art house movie to me. And I don't necessarily gravitate towards those, but I get it. And I think Ari Aster is fantastic at portraying grief.
Yeah, man. Like some of the stuff that he can make you feel like, dude. I remember the conversation after the movie came out of talking about. I forgot what the guy's name was, but the guy that gets
Alex Wolff.
Yeah, the guy that gets taken by the women, and then he ends up getting
from Midsommar. What's his name? It's like he's from fucking Sing Street. Jack Rayner.
Yeah, and then like, did he deserve that? You know, is that something he deserved? Like the conversation around it was just funny to me. Like, what are you talking about, man?
It's wild.
They killed this dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's just real interesting, man. It's just real interesting. It's thought provoking, I guess, is the word I would use for that. But yeah, man, I'm interested in seeing what he does too. But yeah, man, Hereditary is one of those movies too that's very different, man, and it's good, man. Like, I love this horror stuff, man. Like that's coming back, you know, with the whole Get Out, you know, and Jordan Peele and stuff he was doing, you know. So it's just a real interesting time in horror, man, and I'm very excited about, you know, the stuff coming, you know.
Same here, man. Same here. It's one of my it's my favorite, probably my favorite genre besides comedy. Comedy's probably my number one, but I think horror and comedy, they have they share certain things that you can just enjoy. I think that's why comedians play great. I think that's why Jordan Peele is such a great horror director, because there's not very much that's separating horror and comedy.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're two sides of a coin, basically.
Exactly, and it all depends on how you play it. When it comes to, like, if you have a script, you can probably like throw someone a comedy script but read it as horror. You could throw someone a horror script and read it as comedy. It's just it's crazy how that goes. But yeah, so those are the two movies or two TV shows. Let's go ahead and talk some news. We'll go ahead and first, I guess we'll say it. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers. Fine. I had so much hope that I just wanted to see like the Heat, you know, just have that Cinderella story of doing it. Man, when they won that second game, I was like, this is it, man. They're gonna make that comeback. And then game 5 they do it. I'm just like, damn. But then game 6, I think they used everything they had in the tank to get to game 6, which, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing to hang your head on that. You weren't supposed to be there. So congrats to the Heat as well. But, you know, LeBron got his 4th championship. Can we stop with these? Does this help him get into the conversation of greatest of all time? No. He's been to 10 finals and only won 4 of them. Get out of here. He's the 2nd greatest of all time. He's not the greatest of all time.
I mean, dude, I'm a big Jordan fan, dude. I grew up on Jordan. I grew up watching him. And, you know, I grew up with Hakeem in the 90s, basically. And I watched it back then. I've been always a basketball fan. I played basketball in high school. I love basketball. That's my first love from a sport. And me as a Jordan purist and thinking he's always been the GOAT, man, I still, like, now I have to give some credence to that notion of maybe LeBron is up there with him. Maybe they share the pedestal. Maybe, dude, like what he's done, it's crazy. Like he won in 3 cities, basically. One of them had never had a championship, the Cavaliers. Did Miami have it? Yeah, Miami had a championship before.
Yeah, they had the 06.
Yeah, you know, and how he's able to turn the team around and the level at which he can get them to play. And you say, you know, he has AD in that, but I mean, we saw AD shrink in some of these playoffs as well.
Absolutely.
And the motley crew that he has and what he's able to get out of him, man, like a washed up Rondo, you know what I mean? It's just crazy to me, man. He's really good, man. He's really good. He's I don't know. I feel like he can touch that, man. He can touch that GOAT along with Jordan, man. Because Jordan did have Scottie Pippen. He also had Dennis Rodman. And then his players, I guess he was the first one or the first team with Jerry Krause who kind of put a team around him that complemented him very well, which was the shooters, the stretch 4 with Luke Longley and what's the other guy? Tony Kukoc. You know what I mean? And that offense for Phil Jackson. Like everything was together for Jordan. And what LeBron has had to go through, man, with the high expectations and I think surpassing them, in my opinion, man. I mean, if when he came out of high school and he's like the chosen one on Sports Illustrated or whatever, you know, if you would have said this guy's gonna make it to 10 NBA finals just like that without knowing how many he won, would you think that was, him living up to the expectation? 10 NBA finals.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy. Something no one's ever done.
And then you add 10 NBA finals with 3 different teams. And then you add how many back-to-back, to back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's just something that's really difficult to comprehend. We love to hate LeBron. I don't. I like him, man. I like LeBron. I like him as a team player. I don't think he has the same skill set as Michael. Obviously, he doesn't have the killer instincts as Michael.
Yeah.
But he has other things. He has like better passing, better. And I saw some things on there about his shooting percentage, man. And Michael's shooting percentage in the playoffs isn't close to LeBron James' shooting percentage in the playoffs, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I mean, I know you said no, that he's not close, but I think he is.
No. He's the second greatest of all time. I believe, because I believe, and it's the same debate we go through with quarterbacks in the NFL, or even football players in the NFL, of who's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and who's the best of all time. And I think that LeBron is probably the best basketball player of all time in terms of how he plays the game. I don't think anyone has a higher basketball IQ than LeBron James. That's why I never like taken anything away from LeBron. I've never said like, oh, this final doesn't count, like the shit that Skip Bayless does, of like, you didn't take this shot in said game. Like, what? That you don't get that makes no sense. He made the basketball play that won them the game. That pass to Ray Allen. He makes the pass to get them into to Game 7, and then they win the damn NBA. They win the Game 7. Like, things like that. I think he's the best of all time. Probably the smartest player to ever play the game of basketball. No one can top him in basketball IQ. It's kind of similar to best of all time people in NFL. Some people say Elway. Some people might say Moreno, but they don't necessarily say the actual GOAT, who is either Tom Brady or Joe Montana. But Tom Brady, to me, is the GOAT of all time. And then LeBron, with Kobe, with Michael Jordan, is the greatest of all time. A guy who all he did was win 6 NBA finals, 6 championships. Went perfect in the NBA finals. Stayed with the Bulls for as long as he possibly could, until he decided to retire and then come back. Things like that. And to me, it's probably it's more eye test too. When I look at LeBron and I look at MJ, there's just something about MJ that just makes me go like, that's the guy, like the greatest that's ever played the game, probably. So it's that kind of stuff. Now, in terms of and what he brings to it, I will say maybe it's more having our eyes on it more. The complaining's got to stop, not just with LeBron, with everybody. It's starting to make the game unwatchable. Hate with the whole as soon as the whistle blows, this. Especially when, bro, there was one where LeBron literally shoulder tackled Tyler Hero, and then he goes, and because there was no whistle, he was like, I'm just like, oh, dude. And then you see it with Harden all the damn time, looking for fouls, looking for this, looking for that, instead of just going out there and playing the goddamn game. And this, I think with this playoffs, dude, it made it so hard to watch. It made it where if it continues for another couple years, I might gravitate away from watching the game as often as I normally do.
Yeah, well, I think the game has changed, man, because it's now, part of the game where you need to shoot free throws and you need to get to the line and 3 points, and you put the other team in foul trouble and stuff like that. So it's more part of a game than it was before. I agree. I mean, I think we're past it now, but it still has the what is it called? Like soccer. Soccer still has
the flopping.
We're past the main flopping era of soccer, but it still has that what is it called, man? Like, it's not your what's it called precedes you? What is it called? Like the reputation. It still has that reputation. So
yeah,
whenever you see one, you're like, oh, there it is. So I think we're kind of in the height of the flopping for NBA right now. And I agree with you.
It's more of the
Yeah. The whining.
Oh, how did I didn't touch him. Like, come on, man. First of all, you're a Mack truck, LeBron. Like,
he's a freaking tight end in the NFL, man. But
dude, ridiculous.
One of the things that I will say that you didn't mention on your argument is that LeBron is not done.
So 100%.
So I think that they're the favorites coming back next year. Not me saying that like I think they're going to win, but I think the
probably Vegas.
Vegas has them at the favorites to win next year. And why not? Why not? I mean, they're going to keep the same team pretty much. It's going to be another kooky year because from what I'm hearing, they're going to start around January 19th or 20th, around MLK Day. So they try to pack in 82 a full season. So that's still going to be a crazy season. I can tell you, LeBron's probably going to play half of those games because he's not going to play the whole. He's going to rest and he's going to be ready for the playoffs again. So if he gets another one, what do you think? He's still not the GOAT?
I don't know if there's anything on me to say he's the GOAT. He's got to tie. He's got to tie MJ.
He can't. He can't go 6 for 6. He can't do 2.
No, I'm not saying go for 6 for 6. Go get 6.
Dude, no, man. Like
he's already got 4. Get 2 more.
I mean, maybe. I'm not saying he can't.
He probably can.
I'm just saying that I don't think that that's the measurement, man. If he gets 6 and he was in 12 finals, dude, like that's or if he gets 4 and he's in 12 finals, that's ridiculous, dude. That's still ridiculous. Like 12 times you were at mountaintop.
He would have done. Like, say he would have not got hurt that year, the first year on the Lakers, takes Lonzo, takes Brandon Ingram, and that ragtag, of rookies, that ragtag group. If he would have taken them, it would have been so much more impressive than he's got a bunch of guys that have been there before.
Okay,
the only guy that really hadn't been there before was AD.
You're making the argument for me, man. You're making the argument for. Who did he go to the?
He took a bunch of veterans, a bunch of guys that have been there.
Who did he go to the finals with when he was with Cleveland the first time around?
Kyrie and Kevin Love.
No.
I'm talking about wins. That was LeBron when he was a baby. I never hold that one against him.
Well, obviously you are because you're saying
no. I don't hold that one against him.
That he has 10 and he didn't win them all. That team that he took in Cleveland is one of the worst teams that's ever made it. But because LeBron was on there, he got basically what's the worst team that Michael took? The one with Scottie Pippen, the one with what I'm saying, with all these
Scottie, Paxson,
Horace Grant,
Kerr, Horace Grant. Yes, a bunch of great players.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all eye test, baby. It's all eye test. I look at LeBron and I see a fucking Mack truck who should not be in the NBA, should be in the fucking NFL, catching touchdowns from one of these damn quarterbacks.
I mean, these are the fun arguments, man. Like, okay, let's say you switch LeBron into all the Bulls teams that won. He wins 6, right?
Probably.
Maybe?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Michael,
and also LeBron's never had a great coach.
That's true too. And
LeBron's never had a legit great coach.
Now you put Michael on other teams that LeBron took to the championships. How many does Michael win? Be honest.
Every single. Well, I'm not gonna say 10. He obviously wouldn't win 10 because I don't think he takes that. He doesn't take that first Cavaliers team to a championship for sure. I mean, I think he takes them there, but he doesn't win it. Let's see. I mean, obviously, all three Heat teams would have won.
Yeah, big
so that's 3. I think he would have got all 3 Heat teams because he probably would have punched Chris Bosh in the face if he ever complained about something. Because that's what Jordan did.
Hey, but they lost one though, right?
They lost one, but I think MJ gives them all 3.
Well, they lost against Nowitzki, I think, right?
Yeah, because they went to 4. All 4 years that he was there in Miami. They went to 4 and they lost 2.
Yeah, so they lost to Nowitzki.
Because they lost the first one to Nowitzki and the last one to Kawhi and the Spurs.
The Spurs. Yeah. But they beat the Spurs that third season. On when they were losing and the Spurs should have won that.
Who was that Who was the second one, or the second finals, but the first win? Who was that against?
Was it the Celtics? No, that was
no. Yeah. Damn.
Let me check.
It was the year after the Mavs went, because he never played Kobe in the finals. Everyone wanted it. I would have loved it.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
That's tough. That's a good trivia question.
Yeah. Oklahoma City.
That's right. That's right before the Rockets traded for James Harden.
That's right. They defeated
because James Harden went cold.
Dude,
a lot of people went cold.
Dude, I remember that James Harden was on the bench because he was coming off the bench that year, and dude, in the finals, you could tell he was like, "Don't put me in, don't put me in."
It was bad, dude. And that was right before he got elbowed in the head by. I mean, that was right after he got elbowed in the head by Artest, right?
Yeah, dude. He was like, "Don't put me in," and it was like, I remember when we traded from him, I was like, "That guy, the guy that didn't want to be in the game."
I was like, "Man, come on, no."
Yeah.
I was so happy when we traded for Harden.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was good. I just, it was a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
But I knew he was good though.
I love Harden so much, but now I'm literally sitting here wondering, like, is it time to move on? Oh no.
No, you can't cut bait right now, man. You can't cut bait until you got somebody else. And from what I heard too, I just read a report that New York Knicks are looking to take on Russell Westbrook's contract. So.
Oh, if they're willing, please give us some draft picks, please. Oh my God, that's so much nicer. I love Westbrook. I think Westbrook was probably the best thing about our team this past year, up until a certain part of the playoffs. But damn, man, like, if we can get rid of that contract and get some draft picks, man, that's all I want.
Yeah, dude. So I read that report about 4 or 5 hours ago, and it's serious. It's that contract, or they want Chris Paul. So
no, let Chris Paul go to LA and play with the Lakers.
Yeah, I think if we can get dump Russell Westbrook's contract, man, that'd be great.
Yeah, nothing against them.
But you're right, man. I mean, he was good at the beginning of the season before COVID hit, and then COVID hit and he came back and he wasn't kind of the same guy, and we didn't have the same team anymore. So kind of sucks, man. I really do wonder what would happen if they wouldn't have.
Probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah, dude, I really do wonder that, because they were. Yeah. I mean, they were on the streak, man. They were playing well, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. Also, we'll move away from NBA. We got the MLB playoffs going on. We got the two championship series going on. We got the LA Dodgers down 2-1 to the Atlanta Braves. Who would have thought? Atlanta Braves killing it right now. I'm not today, but
not today. Yeah, definitely not today.
And then you have the Houston Astros taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, trying to avoid the sweep tonight. I believe it is now 4-2 with after a Springer 2-run homer, so that's good. But yeah, we're trying to stay in it. I think the Astros have been making little bitty mistakes. I've hated the body language that I'm seeing from players. It's absolutely driving me up the wall. Seeing players throw their hats down, their gloves down, their bat, slamming the bat on the ground. It's just ridiculous. You don't win championships like that, and all the Rays see is, hey, we got them. Like, this is they're beating themselves, which is basically what it is. They're letting last night, that great sliding play from Hunter Renfroe when George Springer threw his helmet on the ground. I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like, man, you congratulate that man on a great play.
I mean, I get what you're saying, man, but it gets frustrating when these Rays are playing. I mean, this is going to go down as one of the best defensive series for a team against another team in a long time. Like, it's ridiculous how many plays, like that line drive that Tucker hit yesterday, that had a 830 batting average. So that means that 83% of the time that's a hit, and he gets an out. There was another one where it was the game before, and it was a Rocket dude. I forgot who it was, and what's the guy's name? Kiermaier?
In the outfield.
Yeah, he dives and he catches it. Yeah, and it was for the third out and runners in scoring position, and that had a 20% catch probability. Yet he caught it.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy, man.
That's what I'm saying. And the thing is, like, I get it. I get why they're frustrated. they're making contact, but it's going straight to the other team, or in some cases they're just making ridiculous plays.
Great plays.
One of the Astros beat writer for the Chronicle, Brian McTaggart, says for yesterday's game, he had never seen a baseball game where the opposing team made that many great plays to save runs to win the game. So there's something going on, man. Maybe the Rays are catching lightning in a bottle. I don't know. I agree about the body language, but the only thing they can do is win one game at a time. Like they talked about who's pitching today, Greinke and Javier. They wanted him for game 5 if needed, but they said that if they need him today, they're going to pitch him today. And guess what? He's on the mound. So this is all hands on deck, and let's just make it to tomorrow. And that's going to be how it's got to be. Obviously it's happened before. The Red Sox have come back from 0-3. I don't think that these teams are as far apart as the series says right now, which is down 3 games. And one thing that the Astros do got going for them is that the Rays bullpen is not the best right now. So it is what it is, man. We'll take it one day at a time. They're up right now, but anything can happen with these damn pesky Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, man. This is the type of team. It's similar to the Washington Nationals, where they're hot at the right moment, and that's what this Rays team is. I didn't have the Rays in the. I think when I made my first bracket, I had Padres and Astros. The Padres ended up, looking good, and then got swept by the Dodgers. The Astros have been able to get all the way through. This Rays team popped up out of nowhere. I think I had. I think I did have this exact series. I had said Rays over Yankees because that Yankees team can never just. It was never hitting on all cylinders at the right moment. It was either the hitting was on point, but the pitching was off. The pitching was on point, but the hitting was off. It was always that for the Yankees. And I also said I didn't want to do that to the Yankees again. At this point, it was bullying. It would have been bullying, and I don't like bullies.
I had Astros Dodgers. I thought the Rays would beat the Yankees as well. Since we played them last year, and they took us to Game 5 last year. I thought that they were on the come up and that they were going to be good this year.
Yeah,
COVID kind of messed some things up, but their pitching staff is legit, man. And that's a credit to their front office, man, because they're a small market team with not a lot of cash, but they have 3 legitimate. Actually, it's 3 legitimate guys in Morton, Snell, and Glasnow, and that 4th guy, Yarborough. He pitched last night, but he's their 4th guy. The only reason Glasnow didn't pitch is because he was not on, he needed rest because he had pitched on Friday.
Yeah,
but Yarborough is actually going to be good as well. So it's a credit to the organization, man, of how good they are, even though they don't have the big names and the big money.
Yeah, man, and that's to me that's what I love to see, man. Like if this is anybody else but the Astros, I would be digging. I think I said the same thing with the Nationals last year. Was like if it was against anybody else but the Astros, I'd be loving it because that's what you want. And like that to me, that's why you have the two wild card teams or the 3 wild card teams is because you want to have that Cinderella story. This is why you have. I love the 8-team playoffs this past year. I think it was a lot of fun. So I hope they maybe adopt that going forward. That'd be great. I always just like the odd number playoff teams. Like just have an even number, have everybody play. Similar to the NBA playoffs, everybody plays. You just gotta be on at the right moment. But this is exactly what you want from teams. You want small market teams making it to finals and NBA and Super Bowls and stuff because then it doesn't seem so as like it's always LA, it's always New York, it's always this, it's always that. That's why you want teams like the Tampa Bay Rays or even the Atlanta Braves to a certain point getting there. Can it just not be against us? That's all.
Man, seriously, I mean, at what point we were that team just because we aren't a big market, but I mean, nationally, Houston is not looked at like that, But now that they picked 4 ALCSs in a row, and the whole cheating scandal thing, we're the bad guys. So, but yeah, man, I agree. You always want to cheer for the underdog. You always want parity. You always want the perception of that at least. And ever since Moneyball and Billy Bean and the Oakland A's were able to kind of make it happen with analytics and not a lot of dollars, it makes it fun. It makes it fun. It makes it like you don't just have to go out. Like, we have Springer, but we have Springer on the cheap. So we're not going to have him next year more than likely. But we have somebody that's going to take his place in Tucker. And we have some other guys, some other bats in the minor leagues that are going to take their place. But it just makes it difficult from a who do you pay standpoint. Are we paying Correa? Are we paying Springer? Are we paying Brantley? This might be Brantley and Springer's last game as an Astro. And the Rays have the same problem, but they have it at a larger level, which is interesting because they signed Morton away from the Astros. They signed him, and he's been nails for them, man. He's been like everything and more for them. So, good move by the Rays. Again, like you said, it sucks that it's against the Astros.
Yeah, and with that in mind, that's kind of a good problem to have. The whole who do we keep? That's the kind of problem that you want as any organization. It's not really a bad problem to have when you're like, we have too much talent. Who do we keep? That's a good problem to have. Yeah. It's better than who do we give this money to? Because there's nobody that's worth it. Like,
exactly.
You never want that problem. So, it's always a good thing. And I think Correa gets my money based on the fact that he was the only one that was standing up for the Astros and not backing down from any comments last year. Everyone else was backing off. I'm like, I'm too afraid to comment, especially, dude, I was the biggest Bregman fan, but his quietness, his silence during the offseason was like, come on, this is your moment.
Not everybody can accept the heel, man. Not everybody can accept the heel. So.
I love Correa because of it. You can tell Correa is like a UFC a combative sports fan, because he was like, look, hey, we did what we did. It happened. We still had to hit the ball, but you know what? Y'all aren't thinking about that. So come get it during the playoffs. Let's go.
Not only that, man, but I feel like selfishly that kind of ties him to the Astros more. You know what I mean?
Like to me, like I think I was the one saying, like, it's hard to find a really good third baseman that can hit. It's hard to find it's hard to find like that all around, like, outfielders. Shortstops come around, a lot. He's probably the most expendable. And then as soon as he said that, I was like, nope, you're not going anywhere. You are an Astro for life. We're going to start hanging your jersey in the rafters already. You can stay.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was one, especially when he had that slump. I think it was 2018 or 2019. I don't remember.
Too.
Yeah, man. All those fluke injuries and all those fluke things that he was doing, and I guess his wife was influencing him as well. I was like, man, we don't need these headaches. We don't need these distractions, And then when everything came out, and like you said, he started being vocal and I mean, he wasn't saying anything out of line. He's just saying the truth, which is, more teams were doing it. Boston was doing it. They didn't get the trouble that we got in, all that stuff, and it just, it made him more relatable, I guess, because a lot of the Houston Astros fans were thinking of the same things he was thinking. He was just saying it, and he has a platform to say it, and he's part of it, So, yeah, man, I agree. Like, and then this year, though, man, like this year and this whole bubble and COVID and all this stuff, he stepped up tremendously, dude. From a playing perspective in the playoffs, he's been great, and then his fielding has gotten a lot better as well. He's made less errors, less mental mistakes, and less mistakes overall. And dude, I definitely want to keep him around. He's young. He's gonna be 25 or 26 or something like that. I don't even remember how old he's gonna be. I think they still have one more year with him, anyways. But we definitely need to figure out how to sign him and give him, back up the Brinks truck, because we'll have him, Altuve, Bregman. Now we got Yuli for at least 2 years, and we'll have Tucker in the outfield. Alvarez will be back. So, I mean, there's still light at the end of the tunnel, man. We're still good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on. Not to mention, we got our 1 and 2 already. We got Valdez and Urquidy. I mean, those guys have stepped up. That's going to be our new rotation going forward. That's youth. Not to mention Christian Javier. Not to mention Anoli Paredes. So, and we got money coming off the books too. So,
Yeah. Hey, I mean, there's nothing but to me, there's nothing but up, man. It's just it just sucks in the moment. That's all. But let's go to one more thing, and then we'll get to the fight stuff, and that is ding dong. Bill O'Brien is gone.
Oh man,
Lord Jesus Christ. To me, I even told people at my job, I was like, dude, the Texans can go 0-16. This will be a win for the year because Bill O'Brien is gone. Thank goodness gracious. We're not gonna go too deep into it. I just want you to throw out who's your head coach, who are we signing, what do you got? If you got a GM, throw that out there too. I don't have a GM, but you could throw out a GM if you got one.
I don't have a GM, but I don't know. Let me think about it. But Bieniemy, I think, is the front runner right now. But I also like Lincoln Riley. I think Lincoln Riley would be a good get if possible. I like him. I mean, I know
him. He's a quarterback whisperer for sure.
I mean, we have a quarterback that needs whispering. I mean,
that's okay. So I have obviously Bieniemy. I think Bieniemy's number one because I'm just thinking about that Chiefs offense with a little bit more athletic quarterback than Deshaun Watson. How beautiful that would look! It would be perfection. Mm-hmm. But then I'm also looking at someone threw out Dabo Swinney, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, the Clemson connection.
Yeah, the Clemson connection. He literally called the guy Michael Jordan.
He also has a connection to that guy. What's that guy? Who's our president or whatever? What's his name? The one that
I don't know.
The guy that was supposed to be acting GM or whatever for the Texans. He's with the Texans right now.
Yeah, I don't know any of the front office guys' names, man. I'm sorry.
Well, it's that guy.
Everything stopped at Bill O'Brien.
He has connections with him too, so that's also a dark horse as well. Dabo Swinney.
So I'll be. Those are my first two. If there's anyone that's like and that's in the NFL that would want besides Bieniemy, Todd Bowles is one that I would look at. I've always liked Todd Bowles a lot, and this defense needs some kick in the butts, man. So something like along the lines of that, man. It just sucks that the coach that comes in is not gonna that arm. Sorry.
You're watching that fight, yeah. I know exactly which fight you're watching too.
But I was like, I think this defense is a kick in the butt. The only bad thing is that Bill O'Brien is leaving this team in such shambles that
I got a GM for you.
You have to offer money. Like you have to throw money at the next coach because it's like they have nothing to work with at least this upcoming off season. This upcoming off season got to be a freebie. Like don't worry. Like just focus on next season.
I don't know if you throw money at him. I think you throw years at him, like you do. Like you did with Gruden in Oakland.
100 million 10 years, do it.
and again, Gruden is looking like a genius right now with all the picks and stuff that he has, and how they're playing.
And he's got a fantastic evaluator of talent and Mike Mayock as his GM.
I know, and so that's what I was going to say too. The last two big time hires that they did at the same time was him, which is Gruden and Mayock, which is outside of the norm to hire Mayock as a GM, and then Shanahan and Lynch, which is also outside of the norm to hire Lynch, who had no, GM experience, basically, to hire him as a GM. So my thought process, I'm just throwing this out there, man. They make a short little drive from Kirby Street down to Toyota Center, and they back up the truck for Daryl Morey, and they say, "Hey, Daryl, come put your analytics over here. We have an empty cupboard, and you get free reign." What do you think about that?
My only issue with that is I love draft picks, and Daryl Morey has this thing about drafting. He doesn't like it.
That's only in the NBA, though, dude.
I know.
He said it multiple times in the NBA because of the structure and because of how much one guy impacts the game, because there's only 5 guys on the floor at one time. You know what I mean? So I think he would. Yeah. And the thing is, the Browns hired some guy from not right now, but like 6-7 years ago. They hired a guy from. It was either I think the 76ers and or the Spurs, and he was an analytics guy, and he got fired like 3 years in. but then all his stuff started paying off. All his players started paying off, so they didn't give that guy enough time, right? So I don't know, man. I'm just thinking outside the box. I'm thinking analytics.
I'll throw one out for you that I would love for GM, and his name should be in the conversation more often, and it's not for some reason. Louis Riddick. Oh, Jesus Christ. Louis Riddick. I would love if Louis Riddick would come in and throw his hand in the thing. I'm pretty sure he's probably taking calls. It's just for some reason no one ever called him.
He's actually, I think last year he interviewed and he didn't get it. He interviewed twice, I think, for 2 different jobs and he didn't get it.
Was one of them the Lions? Because I feel like I heard that.
I think it was, but I think it was, and he didn't get it.
Yeah, so, well, he's gonna get it here, man. Because I would love Louis Riddick, but that's a out there choice that you threw out there, and you know what? At this point, what do you got to lose? Because we're probably gonna be very low.
I mean, if you back up the truck for Daryl Morey and you tell him we're gonna give you a 5 or 7 year deal, and you get to pick the coach that you work with, but we want Bieniemy or something like that,
Yeah. Like here's some suggestions, but we'll give you free reign.
Yeah, and you don't have like year 1 you're not expected, but maybe year 2 because you have Deshaun Watson and work your magic. I think that'd be. I think that'd be exciting from a fan standpoint. I think a lot of fans can get behind that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we got some good games coming up. We'll probably not do our predictions here on live. We could probably send them to each other. We've taken a little break from that too, but
we'll post them.
But yeah, we'll post them for sure. But let's go ahead and get into these fight announcements. So we had 2 very big ones. Obviously, the biggest one being Jan versus Sterling. I'm just kidding. The biggest one being Poirier versus McGregor being announced for January. Surprising. I guess surprising.
Pseudo-announced.
It's announced via Conor McGregor. We haven't seen ink to paper yet, but it seems like both guys are willing to do it. The money doesn't seem to be an issue because it does seem like it's going to be a charity type thing where Conor is going to be donating his money to Poirier's organization. I don't know do you know what the organization is called on the top of your head?
I forgot what it's called, but it's $500,000 to him. But there's still hurdles, man. I mean, they announced it, so what's it called? McGregor wanted to fight in November, December, but that was going to have to push somebody's fight. Dana didn't want it. Dana's being also petty because he's not getting to announce this stuff, and it's being negotiated on the public. Mm-hmm. And so Dana said, "No, I'm not going to do November, December. I'll do January," thinking that McGregor would say no, and McGregor said yes. And the reason why this is a big deal is because McGregor wants it in Cowboy Stadium. Except that there's going to be no people at Cowboy Stadium. There's going to be
very empty.
A very empty stadium, and Dana White is not going to take a chance to sell out a Cowboy Stadium and take that live gate of $20 to $25 million on a Conor McGregor fight. So I still think there's some hurdles to it, man. Don't think that it's set in stone. I can easily see this thing being booked for January 23rd. And then in December, they have to push it back to March because there might be a possibility of having an open stadium and having more people in it. But I do think that Poirier is going to fight McGregor next, and I think that's a great fight, man.
Absolutely, I think it's a great fight, too. My only question is, why didn't he want to fight Ferguson?
Who?
Poirier.
He did want to fight him.
But according to certain people, the numbers were thrown out there. What were the numbers? What was the numbers difference here?
The numbers difference here is he's going to get a cut of the pay-per-view, and he knows that the pay-per-view against McGregor is going to be astronomical. So he's going to end up getting the money that he wants. And he wouldn't get that against Tony.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Tony's going to get the next title shot anyways.
Have you seen what's going on with Khabib and Tony?
No, I haven't. What's going on between them?
So there was a lot of respect between Khabib and Tony up until like a week ago. And now Khabib, I guess he took something that Tony said as a slight, and he called Tony a stupid fighter.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let's get this going, man, before Ramadan.
So now it's been I don't know. It's been kind of building. I think Tony responded not as bad, but also not as respectful as he's been in the past for Khabib. And he's just, he wants that fight. He still wants that fight. I think he deserves that fight.
100%.
So hopefully we get a chance to see it. I think he said something like "Don't retire" or something like that.
Because even though he got finished by Gaethje, it was a standing finish. The man was still on his feet, was still coming forward, took some heavy shots that I don't think Khabib would have been able to handle from Gaethje. The guy 100% deserves the shot. Didn't have to fight Gaethje, chose to do it. So yeah, I think he 100% deserves it. I think that if I think I mentioned it to Ace when we had him on, when I had him on, the greatest thing to do would be have Tony in the backstage area as soon as the fight is over. If Khabib wins, bring out Gaethje. I mean, bring out Ferguson with the contract. Sign them up right there. Get it going. Let's go,
dude. I think to add to that, I think he should be warming up and have like Vaseline all over his face and his
like he's ready to go right there.
He's ready to go right there, man. Just to kind of give
him why not, man? But you already know the MMA purists would go crazy and their heads would probably explode because it's too WWE.
Yeah, I mean it is, man. But hey, man, I mean they're trying to sell pay-per-views and it's kind of hard to sell pay-per-view for Ferguson coming off that loss, like you mentioned. What I will say is that styles make fights, man, and that Ferguson style against Khabib is something that I've been wanting to see for a long time. It's a bad matchup for Khabib. It's a bad matchup for Khabib. But maybe now it's in his head, and after Gaethje, maybe that's what's coming, And again, that's saying after Gaethje, like the Gaethje fight is an easy win for Khabib. It's not. I don't think it's not by any stretch, So we will see, man. We will see.
Yeah, I also think that the world can't handle another pandemic. If the Khabib and Ferguson fight does get signed, I don't think we can handle another pandemic to stop that fight from happening.
Yeah. Well, you know how it works, man. I don't think that it's a pandemic. It'll be something completely different. At that point, aliens land on the Earth or something, or
take Ferguson away.
Yeah, or a meteor hits the moon and makes it 2 inches closer to the Earth, and now we have rising tides. I don't know. It's never gonna say. It's never the same. It's like lightning.
It's crazy. All right. Well, let's go. And the other one. I mean, the actual announcement of Jan versus Sterling. Can we just say thank you, Dana, for finally doing something right? Like this is exactly. It should have been signed long ago.
Yeah, dude, but it's Dana and his negotiating tactics, man, and it's sad because I'm sure that Sterling
had to give up a lot.
Yeah, he just basically yielded because he needs that fight. He wants that fight, and he's the uncrowned champ, in my opinion. And I think, I mean, I hate to say it, dude, because I don't know, I might be wrong, but I just feel like you said the eye test earlier. I feel like Sterling is gonna expose Jan, man.
Can you stop? Don't call him the uncrowned champ anymore because the last person you called uncrowned champ got knocked out. So
who was that?
Reyes.
Man, so Reyes was the uncrowned champ. Now he got dethroned.
He did.
He got his uncrowned taken off.
Got his invisible crown taken and the guy who beat him wears an actual crown.
Man, that's.
Let's get into it. I know you have so much.
Yeah, I don't even get into it real quick. Talk about that, man.
Let's get into it. You have UFC 253. You loved it. It was a great card, up and down. Lots of exciting fights. Eli, I'm busy. A bunch of stuff happening, man. But let's start with your guy, man, Brandon Royval. This dude is a legit. Is a legit threat at flyweight. Like, he has all the time in the world to train now. This man needs to be feared in this flyweight division. Yeah,
man. He was mad at the end of that fight because he got rocked. He got rocked.
Yeah.
And it kind of seemed up in the air, but he came back and he kind of righted the ship, and he kind of put it on what's his name? Kara France in round 2. Actually, yeah, towards the end of the round and then round 2. So it was. I mean, he like you said, he is a threat in the division. It's Figueroa at 125, right?
Yeah, Figueredo and him and Alex Perez are gonna be fighting soon.
Man, that's gonna be a hell of a fight too. I think we're gonna see kind of a carousel with those three guys. You know, going back and forth for like the next 2 or 3 years because those guys are all at the top of their game. Very skilled guys. Hoival is I feel he's getting better with every fight. And like you said, now he can train full time. So sky's the limit for that kid, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. And glad to see he got the fight of the night bonus also. Next up, your guy, Jan Blachowicz, becoming the new 205 light heavyweight champion. Reyes didn't come to play. That's the best I can say.
Man, it's weird because after this fight, probably like a week and a half later, I went back and I saw some fights from Reyes. I saw the Volkan Ozdemir fight. I saw the Chris Weidman fight. I saw the John Jones fight, and then I saw this fight. And man, is this guy the epitome of fight to the opponent that he fights, like to their level. Ozdemir, in my opinion, again, probably won that fight against Reyes, and that would have been a big humbling for him and maybe caused him to analyze some things in his game because after that he ended up fighting Weidman and he knocked out a smaller guy basically who has no chin, hasn't had a chin for a while, and that got him the fight against John Jones. Against John Jones, he basically fought the best fight of his life, and in my opinion, he won that fight. That's the best version of Dominic Reyes that we've seen, and that version of Dominic Reyes beats, I don't know, 5 out of the top 10, probably all of the top 10 at light heavyweight, and that's why I had such high expectations for him coming in, because the guy he was fighting was Jan Blachowicz, and like I mentioned to you, you know, after this fight and Jan wins by knockout, Blachowicz is probably one of the least skilled champions that the UFC has had in a long time. And I respect Jan. You know, he won the fight. I do respect him. Like I'm trying to convince myself of it, but at the same time, I do. You know, he's a fighter. You know, he put himself in that position. Just like Correa said, he still had to hit the ball. You know, he still had to knock out Reyes. He still had to go out there and win. But man, just that fight was so bad. Reyes, you can hear his team telling him to be first and what to do, and he wasn't doing it. And you can see Blachowicz's, you know, intent, what he was trying to do, the traps he was setting, and how slow he was. And it's like, man, how do you lose to this guy? You know, and it's just he fought a bad fight. I think he went back and he saw that fight, and he's just gonna kick himself for letting that opportunity slip through his hands, because now he's gonna have to wait and beat some people before he gets a chance to go back and get his uncrowned belt back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and at the same time, John Jones is laughing all the way to the bank because, I mean, do you think that Jan would have any chance against John Jones, dude?
Absolutely not.
But what about Dom Reyes? Do you think Dom Reyes has a chance against John Jones?
Not this one that just showed up.
Not this one, but the one that fought him before, because the
one that fought him before, absolutely.
We've already.
And that's why I think Jan's next challenger, which is going to be most likely Dominic Reyes, Thiago Santos. Jan might lose that belt, man.
Man, that's a bad matchup for Jan, dude. Seriously, man, that's a bad matchup.
I don't want that dude does not take days off. Thiago Santos, Thiago Santos comes to fight every night.
Yeah,
he might not win every night, but he comes to fight every night. This is not going to be Dominic Reyes, backing up into the cage and letting him come forward. Like, they're going to be meeting in the middle.
Yeah, and you know the thing about that too is how, like, one thing that I thought about after this is how does this like that's a great fight, right? That's a great fight. The Santos versus Blachowicz, like
100%.
like it's a good fight because of their skill level. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and their fighting style.
yeah, but like, does it make me feel like they're the best at 205? You know, like
John Jones is the reason that this is happening.
I know that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't really feel that way. I don't feel like and it sucks because it's not just John Jones, man. It's like I still feel that the height of that division is some form of John Jones and Dom Reyes, and those guys aren't in the picture right now. You know?
Yeah, so it's up to the younger guys like Rakic, like Reyes. I'm looking over here also, like Walker, like those guys. The younger guys are gonna have to step up in their skill set and bring the 205 division back to its glory. That's really what it comes down to. Is the young guys are gonna have to put this division on their back and show that guys like Jan, guys like Glover Teixeira, even though he's a legend of the business, should not be ranked number 3. But because Anthony Smith couldn't come through, because guys like even look at Ozdemir, kind of back and forth, want to win, want to lose, want to win, want to lose. Like this division was built on someone who went undefeated,
cleaned it out.
Another guy that cleaned out the division in Cormier. Like those guys put the division on their back and made it what it is today. And now you have a guy in Jan that is champ and uniform, and then that don't necessarily have the skill set that you would think. But you know what? He went in there and he got business done, and he's the champ now. So enjoy it, Jan, while you can. You are champ, and don't let anybody take that from me. Not even us.
And if Jan beats Thiago Santos, dude, I'll give him his credit, man. At that point, he's on like a 4-fight win streak or something like that, and he's beat Dom Reyes and Thiago Santos, right?
He might be on a 5 because, because Rockhold, Souza, Anderson.
Oh, I forgot about Anderson. Yeah. At that point, Anderson, he's on a 5-fight win streak. He has wins over Santos, Reyes, Anderson, and then 2 basically middleweights. So at that point, I give him his credit. At that point,
his most boring one being Souza.
Yeah, that's true. And his most exciting one being Rocco.
That was a great knockout. Hey, but I'll give the Anderson one up there too. The Anderson knockout was dope.
That one was dope, but that's because Anderson walked into it. He put his head down right there. But I don't know, man. So we'll see. Well, maybe I'll learn to love this slow plotting.
Hey, man, he might start winning you over. Maybe now that he's champ, he'll
he's a great guy, man. He's a great guy. He has some decent interviews where
he's a good personality.
His personality pops out and stuff like that, and he's a hard worker. So it's not that I don't like the guy. I just don't think that his skill set was championship material. But he proved me wrong. So we'll see.
All right, next up we got. This is awesome, dude. Adesanya versus Costa, and Costa fought scared. SCARED. I'm not gonna say scared. Most Costa fans are saying that he was trying to hold it for 5 rounds, make sure that he can go 5 rounds. But dude, that's not your fighting style.
No, man, I don't think he was doing that. I think as soon as he got in there and he started seeing some of those leg kicks and angles and feints and stuff, I think he realized how fast Adesanya was.
That was nasty.
And I think he's like, man, if I continue to come forward like an idiot, like I've done to everybody else, I'm gonna get caught. And that's exactly what happened, man. At the end, he wasn't coming forward, but because he wasn't coming forward, he wasn't throwing anything. He wasn't making Adesanya kind of respect anything, and Adesanya just had his way with him, man. And if this was not a not a GOAT making, because he's not a GOAT yet, but he's definitely on his way, especially with Anderson Silva. But just the litany of challengers that he's beat now, and this is his peak right now, which is crazy because he just demolished Costa, man, like destroyed him. He made him question everything he's done up to this point as a fighter, if I'm being honest, because he took everything away from him. He took everything away, like every feint, every punch, every step forward, he took everything away from him and he dominated him. Like this is one of the most dominating fights in a long time, especially at 185. And that's a credit to Adesanya, man. And it's just, I don't know, man, just the way he won. I didn't expect that. I honestly didn't expect. I expected a closer fight. I expected Costa to get a little bit more damage in, or some damage, because it looks like he didn't even touch him. And I still expected Adesanya to win. We both called Adesanya to win because I just thought that he was a lot faster. He was a lot better striker. And Costa doesn't really adapt and do much. He just comes to try to knock you out. And if that wasn't working, what was he going to do about it? Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's just really, really good win for Adesanya in the panels of history for him. Big cap on his big feather in his cap. And now he's looking forward to who do you say the winner of?
He didn't say the winner. He said he wants Cannonier.
Yeah, but Cannonier's fighting, right? He's fighting.
Cannonier's fighting Whitaker, but he's saying he didn't say I want the winner of Cannonier Whitaker. He said I want Whitaker. I want Cannonier. Cannonier wins. I want Cannonier, which I agree with. If Cannonier beats Whitaker, Cannonier 100% deserves the title shot. And I was going to bring me to my next question. If Whitaker wins, do you think he's earned the title shot?
Well, I think he earned the title shot before any of this, man. I mean, he beat Darren Till.
Oh, he's beating Darren Till. Oh, he's beating his Darren Till.
Yeah, but all he's lost to is who?
Remember, he lost to Adesanya. He got knocked out twice in one fight.
Yeah, but he only lost to Adesanya, dude. Like
he got knocked out twice.
I know, man, but it's he lost to the champ, and he was a champ for a while, and he was the legitimate champ. It wasn't like he was a fluke or a paper champ. I mean, he had wars with Yoel Romero, so I feel he earned that because of what the work he put in to get there. And so by him having to win 2 fights to get a rematch, I mean, yeah, he deserves it, man. And again, I think you've said, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, I don't know, but the Whitaker that fought Darren Till wasn't the same one that fought Adesanya.
100%. Now let me give you my reasoning and my thought process. If Whitaker comes, so Cannonier wins regardless. I think if Cannonier wins via decision, via TKO, via submission, he deserves the title shot. I think he's earned it. Has he fought Adesanya? So one guy Adesanya hasn't fought, I believe.
Oh, he hasn't fought him. Yeah.
That's the one guy Adesanya hasn't fought yet. That's really the top tier of the division. That and Darren Till, but once again, Darren Till doesn't deserve a shot yet.
No,
nothing against him, just hasn't done it yet. Not saying he can't get there. Maybe he will. But so my thought process is, Cannonier wins regardless. He gets it. If Whitaker comes in and it's a great fight, both guys look really good, Whitaker gets it. And Whitaker can get the title shot. If Whitaker seems like he's having a hard time against Cannonier but still wins the fight, I would have a hard time saying he deserves the shot. Now, Whitaker goes in and finishes Cannonier, 100%. Give him the title shot tomorrow. It's just like certain, in my mind, and you can, feel free to disagree. My mind, there are certain things that require you to have to win in certain ways and show certain things. If the same Whitaker that shows up to fight Cannonier that showed up to fight against Darren Till, then I would love to see Adesanya versus.
Sorry. Okay.
That's fine. I just thought to.
At least it wasn't a home run.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that certain things require certain things, you have to look at it from a certain way, and I think that if the same Whitaker that fought Darren Till shows up to fight Cannonier, I am going to be so excited to see that Whitaker show up and fight Adesanya. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, man. I just feel like, and I probably agree with you, but I just feel like in this sport of MMA, it's so unforgiving, and I mean, you have to put in your dues and your work. And also, like, I don't just say that like that. I say it like because that's how Dana White is. And if he likes you, he'll give you that, you know. So I feel like if he gets a W, he's gonna get that championship rematch, you know. And I think that's big business for Dana White as well, you know. Like, oh, he's only lost to Adesanya in the past 5 years, you know. That's a big. I don't know how long it is. I'm just giving you an example of the marketing for it, you know. And it's just, again, you know, the Adesanya fight, he didn't look like himself. He had been on a long layoff. So I'm hoping that, and I feel like it's a good matchup for him. Oh, shit. I feel like it's a good matchup for him.
Yeah. And we'll find out soon, man. October 24th, we'll be getting that fight. So we'll be able to talk about it more because it'll probably be a while before we get that fight before we get the Adesanya's next challenger. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about it.
Yeah, and
let's go ahead.
And real quick, on top of that, Adesanya deserves a little break too, man. He's been fighting like crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even though, I mean, the fight against Romero was kind of a break. Yeah, kind of. A little bit. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the card, the Aldana and home card. So you have, I just wanted to point out, performance of the night goes to the very first fight on the card, which was Luigi Vendramini knocking out Jason Ayari. And do you remember this? Because I don't know why, but I'm like I know this was a great knockout. I just forgot.
I saw it, but I'm blanking on it too, man.
Same. We'll go ahead. I want to go to Luma Lukbunmi and Jin Yusre. And dude, Luma, she's gonna be a threat in the strawweight division. Like, absolutely.
Agreed, man.
I'm sorry, Buckley and Kasangane. It just gets better and better every time I see it.
Oh, dude, you saw it again? Yeah, man. This Loma Lukbuni, she this fight was supposed to happen in Victor, but it didn't happen. And the thing is, too, man, Jinyu Frey, I feel like she looks scared in this fight because this is not how she normally fights, man. She's normally a lot better than this.
Man. She looked weird. Maybe she was having a hard time going the 3 rounds or something, or the elbows, the clinch was just bothering her.
I don't know what it was, dude, but it was not her normal performance. So it was just interesting, but not to take anything away from Loma Lukbunmi. Man, she looked really good, man. She looked really good. She's gonna be a problem at strawweight for a lot of women.
Yeah,
and I want to
see Muay Thai, that Angela Hill Muay Thai stuff. That just it's tough, man. Because it's funny because you look at these 2 women, they both weigh in at 115, but one is like sizably bigger.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Which is Jin Yu Frey was handedly bigger than Luma.
Well,
Luma was just fantastic, dude.
Yeah, well, Luma used to fight at atomweight, which was 105. Yeah. So she was coming up to 115. So that was also a big difference. But like you said, it didn't make a difference, man. You know, she was strong. It looked like she was as strong, if not stronger, than the person who looked strong, you know? So
yeah, absolutely.
Good fight, man. Definitely want to see her more. And hopefully Jinyu Frey can kind of go back to the drawing board and see what made her there it is. We won.
Sweet.
Fight another day.
Yes, we do. All right. Luma, look out for her, guys. That's all we'll say is look out for this girl. Next up, I just want to point out, man, Jordan Williams, middleweight. Dude, you're tough as nails, man, but you got to stop blocking punches with your face.
Dude, that guy can take a punch, man. That's all I can say. Dude, I felt like he was running into a lot of those punches. He's young, man. He's young, so he doesn't get what the opponent is doing, I guess, man, because he's just leaving his head out there for the taking, basically. But yeah, like you said, he's tough as nails, man. Some of those clean hits would have knocked out a lot of other fighters, man. So it's because you know, obviously he didn't win. And in the first round, I think he had some good points and good things that he can build off of. But man, he needs to go back to the drawing board. I definitely want to see more of him just because of his heart and his chin. But man, he needs some work, man.
I think it's also you got one. To me, like he all he has to worry about is he has one aspect of this down, which is you can take a punch. Now it's time to work on the other aspects of this game because there's a
Defense,
lot more than just that.
kicking, wrestling.
Yeah, work on those. But you know what? I think you might have one of the hardest ones to one of the hardest things to master, which is the toughness. Because I don't think that you can necessarily teach toughness. It's just kind of in your DNA.
Yeah.
And now you got to go work on the things you can actually work on.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
That.
Did he seem a little undersized to you, or did Imavov look just way bigger than him? I felt like maybe he could cut down maybe to 170.
I think he might be a little undersized because like I'm looking at him now and he does kind of have that build of a welterweight, but at the same time at like 15 is such a large amount.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight.
You worry about you worry about what he'll look like after he cuts it. So it's just it's such a weird thing to like figure out. Also, Carlos Condit, coming out, knocking that dude out in the first round, but then the horn rang. Don't those just like drive you nuts? You're just like, damn
dude,
it.
like 10 more seconds, 5 more seconds. That's all you need, man. Yeah, dude, it happens a lot, but it happens a lot because fighters are willing to take more chances towards the end of the round in case they don't land what they're expecting to land. But man, it was good to see Carlos kind of get a win, and Corn McGee's not a scrub by any stretch. He's also tough as nails. So it was a good fight, a good win for Carlos Condit.
Yeah, he was on a 5-fight skid, so it's good for him to get that win. All right, and the second performance of the night, one of my favorite fighters, I think that we're going to be seeing in the future, Kyler Phillips, bantamweight division. This guy can do it all. It seems like, man, he's good on the feet, he's good on the ground. This guy is going to be fun to see him climb through the ranks of even more exciting fighters in the bantamweight division because I think the bantamweight now is probably one of the more stacked divisions.
And it's just getting dude. He looked good, man. He had a lot of energy, and he was just relentless. Dude. He was relentless.
Yeah, he's only 25 too.
Yeah, so he's young. That's what I'm saying. Like he has a good skill set already in fight IQ to go with that skill set. Very interesting, man. Bantamweight is super stacked. A lot of stuff going on in that division. But like you said, he's 8-1 now, and we're gonna get to see him hopefully climb that division.
Yeah. The next performance of the night, Duško Todorovic over Daquan Townsend. This guy was relentless, man. This guy's going to be a problem too. My only issue, he's undefeated, and you know how sometimes these undefeated guys can learn a very harsh lesson very quickly in the UFC. And this is only his second UFC fight.
Yeah, his second UFC fight.
So it might come because he was taking some punches from Townsend before Townsend started blocking punches with his face.
Dude, Townsend, I don't know what happened, man, but he had a huge reach advantage and he just couldn't take advantage of it. And then he just started getting hit in the face way too much, man. Everywhere he moved his head, he was getting punched. So he was doing something wrong. I don't know exactly what, but big win for Duško Todorovic and bad loss for Daquan Townsend, man.
And we already talked about this one a little bit before, but why not again? Performance of the night also goes to Jermaine Durandamy. And I've never been more excited to watch her next fight. She looked great against Juliana Pena. Juliana Pena looked good too. I think she rocked Durandamy a couple times with some of her strikes. It's just, Durandamy's got iron in her hands. She's called the Iron Lady for a reson.
Yeah,
she's got iron in her hands, dude. And this time she's able to get it with a guillotine. Using Pena's strength against her, which was really even better she's not a bad like IQ fighter, but the IQ of that like is insane, like to be able to learn that. And she's even mentioned that she's been wanting to show what she can do on the ground, really. And you kind of got a little taste of it. So she doesn't want to be seen as just a striker anymore.
Agree, man. I mean, she was a kickboxer before she came in, I believe. She was a former champion. She didn't want to fight Cyborg. This is a big fight for her. And she showed, like you said, like she said too at the end in her interview, that she's a mixed martial artist, and she got a big submission victory. Juliana Pena shaking off some ring rust for her to come and fight her. She wanted this fight as well to win and to kind of propel her to the top. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for her. Like you said, she had some success in rocking Durandamy, but Durandamy was on, man. She was just on. She was on point. She had everything down. She was stuffing takedowns. She was, if she did get taken down, she was getting back up quickly. And she just implemented her game plan, and Pena couldn't implement hers.
And she was hungry.
Yep, and she ended up getting choked out. But it wasn't a huge or bad loss in a sense, because Durandamy is a really good fighter, and there's no shame in losing to her. Just get better, and maybe we'll see her against somebody that also lost on that fight card.
Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. Another one, the next one, which is probably my most disappointing one.
Very disappointing.
Yorgan de Castro versus Carlos Felipe, and I've never been more disappointed in a fighter than I have in Yorgan de Castro. These past two losses, the first one against Greg Hardy, and you can make the argument that his foot broke, which it probably did, but he ended up losing that fight against Greg Hardy by decision. And then this one, man, he just didn't look good at all. The leg kicks were working, and then once again goes away from him.
Doing it. Yep, stop doing it.
I don't get it, man. Like I don't get this. I don't get why he's doing that. And then the last round is probably the most disappointing for me. I've never seen someone with more octagon control lose a round, because at this point, I said to myself at the same time, I was like, him doing that over and over again, to me, I was probably making the judges go, that's not a point. That's not a point. He's tired. He's lost. He's not winning this fight. He's losing this fight, because it was the weakest thing I think I've ever seen a fighter do.
Yeah.
Man. Just the judge, the rep pulled me off. I'm gonna go right back to it. Like man. It's not good.
I don't know what's switching his head, but that's not the same guy we saw, because he was on the Contender Series, right?
Yep, the Contender Series. He got the TKO via leg kicks, and then he also had that big win against Justin Tafa, where Justin Tafa was coming forward and he literally laid him out there.
I don't know what happened to this guy, man. I think his mindset has changed, and he's been in the UFC. He had a lot going for him. He had a lot of hype behind him, and now this guy, if he loses again, he's probably cut from the roster, man, which is crazy. Like, it's crazy. In 1 year, you make it and then you get cut. He's just gun shy. He's not adapting to game plans. I mean, people are gonna have game plans. They're gonna game plan you, and if something doesn't work, you have to be able to adapt. But the thing is, something was working. The kicks were working in the first round. All he had to do was for another round, and he probably TKOs him as well. So I really don't know what's going on, man. Was expecting a lot more from him. Like you said, it was very disappointing. Very disappointing fight.
Yep, and you know what? Carlos Felipe made himself a star because of just the trash talk alone during the fight. Mm-hmm. Like I was enjoying it. I don't know if you were, but I was having fun with it.
I mean, it was the most enjoyable part of the fight. I mean,
but like I like the whole what did he say? Like he heard Jorgen's corner say something, and he repeated it, and he was like, "Yeah, come on, Jorgen,
throw it, throw it or something, like something like that, yeah, man." I mean, he didn't do much either. It's not like he was, trying to knock him out or anything, but he ends up.
Yeah, he has some heavy hands for sure, but no, these guys are. I think these guys are just too big, man. Like, there's no. You can be, bigger in the heavyweight division, but like when it looks like you just came off the street,
that you're
just carrying all this. Yeah, you're carrying all this like unneeded weight around. It looks like unprofessional. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I don't know. And for them to be a co-main is just, it's kind of
wild.
It's kind of a bummer to like. I mean, Durandamy and Pena would have been a great co-main. You know what I mean?
And I think that comes down to the Contender Series stuff. Yorgan was found on the Contender Series. Dana White has a vested interest in him, and you go out there and you disappoint like this, man. I'm pretty sure Dana was talking to him at the end of this fight.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
I mean, all the Contender Series guys and gals, they should have a chip on their shoulder. Like they should have a chip on their shoulder, and they should also have a little bit of extra pressure because Dana White is saying, you proved yourself. Here's your shot at a contract to fight in the UFC, and then you go in the UFC and you don't produce or you don't live up to the billing that you had. Like you had better fights in Contender Series. All Dana White's gonna say is, well, we'll just put you on Contender Series, and you'll fight again on Contender Series. You don't need to be fighting the big show, and that sucks, man. Like you've worked your whole life, your professional life, to get to the big show, and you're at the big show, and then you don't perform, man. And it's just, I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. I 100% agree, man. All right. Let's get to this boring ass main event. It's just this is the epitome of just two fighters that are just like worlds apart in terms of where they are professionally. And it's not because Adana Aldana isn't talented enough. It's just because Holly Holm's a vet, man. Holly Holm's a vet. She knows exactly what she has to do. She had a game plan. She went in there and she executed that game plan. It doesn't make for the most exciting of fights, but it produces wins. It did against Raquel Pennington. Does here. My only issue and the reason why I want to see Duran and me fight Holly Holm is because this style of fighting isn't going to be what does it against Amanda Nunes. When you're fighting to not lose, you're going to lose to Amanda Nunes. You need to go in there and fight to win, and that's why I want to see if Holly Holm has that killer instinct against Duran, because Duranami definitely has that killer instinct.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about this before we got on live. So a couple items, man. You hit the nail on the head. She fights right now not to lose, and you're right. Aldana and her are on different levels because Aldana doesn't know how to adapt. Her corner didn't know how to adapt. She should have been trying to wrestle her or more, or clinch with her, get her, in some different positions, not be at range. And I did gain a certain respect for Holly Holm from her skill set standpoint. I was very frustrated with the fight, but I was frustrated because she was playing the cat and mouse, and she was the mouse, and Aldana was the cat, and she couldn't catch her. And she reminded me of a point where I was with Lyoto Machida, and Machida at one point was almost untouchable because of his style, and it was very frustrating. It was very frustrating. Machida's style at the beginning was first round, kick your legs and run, right? Kick your legs and run because that's the farthest away I can be from you and still earn points. And now that I have the first round against you, you have to be aggressive and come forward. And then he would knock people out because he's the best counter striker that MMA has probably seen in a long time. And that's what Holly Holm was doing. She's like, I'm going to strike. I'm going to, punch you and move, and then do this little side kick that gets distance, and I could run the other way, and you're not going to be able to touch me. And that's exactly what she did for 5 rounds. I thought she was going to get tired. I don't know if you saw her when she gets up from her bench. She runs back and forth until they say fight. And I was like, man, she has way too much energy. And Aldana needed to see that, and she needed to see, hey, this first round, she's going to do this for 5 rounds. So I got 4 rounds to figure out something, and it just wasn't working, man. It wasn't working. It was frustrating on both sides from Holm and Aldana. Now, Holm, like you said, fought not to lose. And what I was telling you is one of the reasons why she fought that way, Aldana does have some wrestling. And the last time Holm fought a wrestler like that is when she was champion and she lost to Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate took her down and choked her out. And so I think she didn't want to chance it and get taken down. So she had to do everything possible to just hit and run so that she wouldn't get taken down. Because if she did get taken down, that's her weakest part of her game. She still hasn't fixed it. She's not going to fix it at this point. She's a finished product. You have to beat her in striking, which Amanda Nunes can, and probably Jermaine Duranami can. And that's it. That's Holly Holm in a nutshell. That's why she didn't take chances, because she didn't want to get taken down and get beat.
Yeah, absolutely. So like we said, we want to see like kind of a mini tournament go on here. We have the two winners. I would love to see Duran and me and Holly Holm duke it out. Maybe if you can get it on the January card, maybe, or the February card. We don't know what the February card is going to be, but get it on one of those. Or if they want to, I mean, I could see with Duran and me impressing the way she did, maybe giving her the main event next time. Who knows? But I'd be down to see that fight. And then on this flip side, but the two losers against losers, I don't feel like that. I felt kind of bad saying that, but the two non-winners up against each other, and Juliana Pena and Ene Aldana.
Bunch of losers out there. Yeah,
yeah.
Aldana versus Pena would be a great fight, man. Very good fight. I think both of them are on the same trajectory and path. They're both wanting to be at the top. They both have some deficiencies in their game, and they can probably both bring out better versions of themselves when they fight each other. So I definitely want to see that fight.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into this last fight card, which was the Moraes versus Sandhagen fight. And dude, I think I have never had a harder time figuring out who I thought was going to win this fight. Because in my head, I was like, I guess because I still had the Jose Aldo and Moraes fight as a loss in his book, even though technically it was a win for him. So I was like, Moraes needs this win. He's lost to Cejudo, lost to Aldo. He needs this win. But then Sandhagen has to bounce back after that embarrassing loss to Sterling, the embarrassing performance to Sterling, not embarrassing loss, the embarrassing performance to Sterling. So I was like, very last second, I said Sandhagen. And I was right. So, hey, there's that. But let's go ahead and go from the bottom up. Just kind of go through them. Go to your mom. So we had the first 4 fights on the card were decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Not boring in any way. You had Bruno Silva and Tagir Ulanbekov, and you already know these flyweight fights, man. They're not boring. None of these damn flyweight fights are boring. These guys throw hands and they can wrestle. So Bruno Silva was trying to do everything he could to win. The Russian was just a little bit better, but definitely a good fight.
Yeah, man. At that level, it's little things. It's little things, and like you said, Ulanbekov was just a little bit better. That doesn't mean that if they were to fight again, he would be a little bit better again. Because at that level, they're getting better so much faster, and they're seeing things so much better. So, close fight. But like you said, the Russian was a little bit better, and that's why he deserved the nod.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we had Tracy Cortez and Stephanie Egger. Tracy Cortez in a dominant performance, except she almost got knocked out by an up kick. So I think that next time she'll be making sure that she has that eye on that up kick when she's going in. But Tracy Cortez just does what she's been doing since she went into the Contender Series and now 2 professional fights in the UFC. Just wrestle, dominate your opponent. Nothing wrong with it. It's not the most exciting of fighting styles, but it gets the job done. There's two wins in a row. I would have loved to see her fight against Bia Malecki, because I think Bia Malecki would have done a better job of keeping Tracy on her feet. So obviously we missed out on that, but maybe we'll get that fight down the line. I still find it hard to believe that Bia Malecki can make 115 because she's so damn tall.
Mm-hmm.
But that would have been an interesting fight. I think this fight was just, it was on late notice. Stephanie Egger jumps in real quick, and you kind of have to. Tracy Cortez is one of those fighters you don't really want to go into on short notice, because her game plan is not necessarily going to change. Her game plan is going to be wrestle you, take you down, try to get the finish, but most likely I'm gonna be working on you on top for 3 rounds. So you don't necessarily have to. She doesn't have the game plan for you, but you definitely have the game plan for her.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing with her. She's a wrestler, and she's gonna be there for 3 rounds. She's not gonna get tired. And when you're a late notice, coming in, where's your cardio at? Yeah, where's your cardio at? Because you're gonna be wrestling for 3 rounds, because Tracy's gonna wrestle you for 3 rounds. I don't know what her ceiling is right now, just because, like you said, it's just wrestling, and she's just getting by on that right now. What happens if somebody like a Bia Malecki can keep you standing?
Veronica Macedo.
Yeah, what happens? Yeah, what happens if they can keep you standing, you know, and we haven't seen that yet. We will, you know, especially with this one, she's going to start getting more fights. And on top of that too, Dana doesn't really like wrestlers a lot that are just straight wrestlers. So where is her ceiling from a promotional standpoint? What do they put her up against, you know, stiffer competition so she doesn't climb the rankings, so that they don't have to put her on the main card? Because some people don't like wrestling, and some of her wins might be boring, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately, this might be the highest we see her, or at least prelims. I don't see her making a main card. But you know what? We'll just say she's very highly marketable. She always has a chance to at least get on a main card somewhere. But I would like to see her against a fighter who can keep her standing. I was genuinely excited for that fight against Bia Malecki. I would have loved to see how, because I mean, you always know how it is with the shorter fighters, because Tracy Cortez is probably about like 5'1" or 5'2", something like that. And Bia Malecki is closer to 6 feet. Like, so it's harder to get those taller people taken down. So,
well, it's harder to get in their range because they're going to keep you at range. The longer frame, you know, maybe says that she's weaker. So will she be able to handle, you know, once she gets her arms around her, if she can get her arms around her? So that's a good fight, man. I'd like to see that fight. I know we didn't get a chance to see it this time, but maybe it's in the future.
Yeah, and luckily, I mean, it was just like I think a minor injury that stopped her from being able to train. It wasn't her getting sick. It wasn't a major injury. It's just something that was going to interrupt her training. So maybe we'll see it coming down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, you have Giga Chikadze and Omar Antonio Morales Ferrer. And I didn't really get a chance to see this one very much. What do you got to say about this one? Anything, nothing. It's cool.
Actually, I don't think I saw this one either.
No,
I might have seen it, but I don't remember it, man. So
all right,
I tell you something.
Yeah. Next one, the only thing I remember from this one, Tony Kelly and Ali Al-Casey, that arm, Jesus Christ.
Which
that
one?
Man, Tony Kelly, the Ali Al-Kasai.
Yeah.
That damn arm, like all these arms taking out the damn socket.
Man, he bent that thing in ways it's not supposed to be bent. I don't know, man. I was kind of disappointed with this. I thought Kelly had a couple different times where he could have finished that fight. Credit goes to Arkasai because he's Gumby, basically. He's Gumby.
But, you know, he took a couple knees to the face.
Yeah, he took a couple knees to the face. That's what I'm saying. Like, Kelly could have finished him a couple times, and then I think he got hurt in the third round. Kelly did. So he was able to make it and win the fight. I would just like to have seen a finish. But Al-Kaisi is a tough dude. Still, I still think Kelly should have finished him.
All right. Next up, we got the kick that broke the internet.
The kick around the world.
Joaquin Buckley taking on Impa Kasangane. And this guy, Impa Kasangane, is no joke.
He's a tough dude. We've seen him. He was on Contender Series.
Fought once before already. This is his second fight.
Yeah, so this is his third fight this year, right?
Yeah, third fight this year, including the Contender Series.
Yeah, and he is a tough dude. It was a good fight up until this crazy kick, man. Definitely, you know, number one contender for KO of the year, in my opinion. A lot of people are arguing on fighting. Oh, it's not the best KO ever. This is the one or whatever. And just for it to be in that conversation is pretty cool. It definitely deserves to be up there. I mean, up there with another guy who fought on this card. Is it on this card? Yeah, Barbosa doing that spinning roundhouse kick. That one was crazy too. But yeah, man, crazy kick. He caught Kasangane caught a one kick and held it too long, and then got up kicked and knocked out like a sack of potatoes. And the great Teddy Atlas, who's a boxing coach, a great boxing coach. I think he coached. He's coached a bunch of people, but one of his first awards was Mike Tyson. He basically said the same thing, a concept that you have in boxing that you should have in any comeback sport is whenever you block something, you have to immediately move off the line and block, because usually there's something coming right after you block something. So if you block a left hook, move your line because you have a straight right coming, or in this instance, when you blocked the one kick, you had a back kick coming, and he didn't move, man. If you look at the replay, he just stood still. Like I don't know what he was waiting for. Like, what were you waiting for? Because I don't get it. But he just set it up perfectly and knocked him out, man. It was crazy knockout.
Yeah, it was definitely, and this is a clear example of what can happen when you have a great performance. Pukasangane, Contender Series standout, already has his first one in the UFC. Comes out here, fights a no name, a guy that Dana White picks off the street, and has a fantastic knockout. And now he's already got another fight at UFC 255.
Exactly. We're gonna get to see him again. What I will say, man, is in the first round, I text my friend who's also into UFC, and I said, let me see what I told him. I'll see if I can look it up real quick. Where's he at? I told him that this was a great fight so far. What is going on?
Yeah, it could have went. It was starting to go back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it was going back and forth, and they were throwing bombs, man. Like, you could hear how hard they were throwing when they were landing. And I was like, this is going to end in a knockout, one way or another. And both of these guys have great chins, too. Like, it's not like they have no chins. And I texted him, and he didn't get a chance to respond. And I said, man, it just ended in the knockout of the year. He's like, oh, man, I'm turning it on. So definitely a good fight, man. And it was already a good fight, and it ended even better than it started.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Next up, these are the three performance of the nights back to back. You have the next one, performance of the night in the heavyweight division. Chris Daukaus knocking out Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira in 45 seconds. How impressive!
Yeah, this was pretty impressive, man. I mean, they talked him up. I forgot who was talking him up. But he's a small heavyweight, and he looks like he can cut down to 205. But it looks like he doesn't want to, because he said that he has a speed advantage over the bigger guys. And that's exactly what you saw here. I mean, he was throwing 3 or 4 punches before Ferreira could figure out what was going on, and he ended up getting caught with this left hook right to the chin, and then some ground and pound. I don't like that, man. I don't like these smaller heavyweights saying, I have a speed advantage, because once you get Derek Lewis in there and he smothers you and takes you down, your small frame is not going to be able to book him off, and he's just going to ground and pound you, and that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be on top of a super heavyweight that has to cut weight to make 265 pounds, so that when you're fighting him, he weighs 280 pounds. You're not getting that guy off of you if he takes you down.
Or you got Francis Ngannou, who has the same amount of speed that you have, coming after you,
but he has a 60-pound or 70-pound weight advantage on you. So I don't like that, man. If I mean, it'll work out in these lower weight divisions, maybe. But I definitely think if you can cut down to 205, and he'll have a huge size advantage there, because he is a big guy.
Absolutely. All right, next up we got middleweight Tom Breese and KB Bular. And Tom Breese gets the knockout in the first round for another performance of the night bonus. So look at that. 3 performance of the night bonuses on the prelim card. Prelim card where it's at.
Yeah, man. And this one, man, was really interesting to me, man. I had high hopes for Bular. But Breeze had a significant speed advantage and power advantage. Did you see what he knocked him out with?
No, I did not.
It was a heavy, straight jab. A jab.
Ooh, those are always nice to see.
So I got to go back and see what they said, because if I'm not mistaken, he's kind of like what Oscar De La Hoya was, which was Oscar De La Hoya was a natural right-hander, but he fought from a southpaw stance, so his right hand was his lead, and that's why he had a stiff jab, because it was his strong hand. I think that's the same thing that happened with this guy, but man, his jab is legit, dude. It's fast, it's strong. He covers a lot of distance with it. So very big knockout for Tom Breeze, man. I'm very excited to see him going forward. He's a big dude as well. He's a big middleweight, man. So he's gonna be some problem, man. He's gonna be problems for a couple people.
All right. We'll go to our next knockout of the night, which was Tom Aspinall knocking out Alan Badeau. Talk to me about this one. At least I did not get to see.
I didn't get to see this one either, I don't think, man. I'm trying to remember it.
Then we have the middleweight, which was Marcus Perez knocking out Dricus Duplessis. Did you see that one?
No, Duplessis knocked out Marcus Perez.
Oh, sorry. Duplessis.
Yes, I did see this one. This one was actually Perez was winning the fight. He was kind of like I wouldn't say dominating. Yeah, probably a little bit domination on there. But it looked like Duplessis was kind of shell shocked, kind of like the octagon jitters. I don't know. I think this might have been his first UFC fight. I'm not too sure. And he was just getting outclassed, And the thing about Perez was he got overconfident, and he was trying to throw this weird reverse up elbow, and Duplessis just landed this left hook right on the ear, like the back of the ear, and it just folded him, and he started doing it unnecessary pound, like hitting him, and they just stopped the fight. So it was bad, man. Perez was overconfident. Duplessis took advantage. Maybe we'll get to see both of these guys again. But it was kind of a weird knockout.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go ahead and go to our co-main event, which is Edson Barboza taking on Makwan Amirkhani. And look at Edson Barboza, man, with the kind of a late career revival.
Resurgence. Yeah, a 145, man, going down from 155 to 145.
And that seems to be like kind of the trend that we're seeing, kind of in the lower weight classes. It started with Frankie Edgar going down to bantamweight, having a great fight with Pedro Munoz. Got the win, actually. It was a very good fight, but he did get the win. And then it happened before that with Jose Aldo going down to bantamweight as well, and literally going all the way to a title shot. And now you have Barboza going from 155 to 145 and looking great, man.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I think Barboza's another one of those that he's basically the 155 version of Aldo, where he didn't have a lot to lose, like a lot of weight to lose, but somehow he did it. He looked great. He looked fast. He looked strong. He looked big for the division. And man, just a bad game plan by Amirkhani, man. Like Barboza is legitimate, one of the better strikers in the UFC. One of the smarter guys in the UFC as far as striking goes. And you want to strike with him without, mixing up some wrestling or trying to mix up some wrestling. And you get caught, you get caught and you get put on your ass twice. I think he got knocked down twice and almost finished. Credit to him for not getting finished. But man, that was just, I don't know, a bad game plan in my opinion from Amirkhani.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's always nice to see Barboza in the win column, man. He's an exciting fighter to watch still to this day. And I'm looking forward to see if he can make any noise here in the featherweight division. There's a lot of guys at featherweight, but the thing is, they're all kind of got everyone there kind of already has.
Well, he called out number 6. Who's number 6?
Number 6 ranked is Calvin Kattar.
That's who he called out.
You don't want Calvin Kattar.
He wants Calvin Kattar. He called him out and do that. Did you see the post fight interview?
I did not. I usually, if I don't watch live, I usually end up skipping them because I gotta go through them fast.
Yeah, I get you, man. But it was interesting because what's her name? I think it was Megan O'Leary. Was either Megan O'Leary or Catherine Bryan. I don't remember who it was asking him questions, and they were kind of awkward because he was saying, like I said, I didn't have the best game plan or something like that. Like he kept saying, like I already answered it, like not in a rude way, but just saying like I already answered the question. And then they asked him who he wanted, and he said, some of those guys are already, have dance partners. He's like, but I want, not top 5, but maybe number 6. He goes, I'll take number 6. Oh, and he knew it was Kattar. He knew it was him. He said his name. So he probably obviously sees something in there, man. Even though Kattar's been on a streak right now, man.
I mean, hey, there's been rumors about Kattar possibly getting Holloway, but there's not really been any movement. But I just don't see, because Kattar, he wants to fast track to the title. And going backwards, like for Barboza, wouldn't necessarily put him there because Barboza is ranked. He's at number 14, but that doesn't necessarily get you to the next spot where you want to be in your career.
It might if they make it a main event of a fight night.
Yeah, if they make it a main event of a fight night, then you're talking different. That's not only is that more eyes, but that's more money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just hard for me to say that but it is tough because you got Korean Zombie and Brian Ortega fighting next week. You got Zabit, who even though the fight against Yair was canceled, doesn't seem like they're looking for another fight for Zabit. So maybe they're just holding to that they want that fight to happen, and then that's where everything is. And then you have Max Holloway, who just kind of left there. Doesn't have anything to do. Josh Emmett getting injured the way that he did. It's tough, man. It's weird. I would like to see actually Barboza and Dan Ige. How about that one, or something along those lines?
Well, Dan Ige just lost to
Cater.
Yeah, to Cater, and he lost. I mean, pretty one-sidedly. I mean, in my opinion,
Jeremy Stevens just lost. I mean, he can't fight Jeremy Stevens, and that's the next ranked guy below Cater.
Well, that's what he's saying. Like, he doesn't want those guys. He wants Cater.
Unless it's a thing written in his contract that says that he'll get a title shot.
I feel Barboza's probably already beaten Stevens. Let me see, dude.
Yeah, he might have. They've been around for so long, they've probably crossed paths at one point.
Yeah, and Steven used to be at, I think, at 155 for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So look, who's this? Barboza? Well, I mean, Barboza already lost to Ige.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he lost to Ige May of this year by split decision.
How about this one? A guy who hasn't fought in a long time and who started to drop through the rankings without losing.
Who?
Allen.
That would be a good fight.
It's not that he's losing; he's just not fighting.
He's just not fighting.
So he's starting to drop, like even to the point where Jeremy Stevens is overtaking him because he hasn't fought. So why not that? I mean, that'd be a good fight, I think.
That probably would be a good fight.
But let's go ahead and move on to the main event. And this was Corey Sandhagen and Marlon Moraes in the 135 division. We love this division, probably the most exciting division. Got the most exciting fighters in the division.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was a tough one for me to pick. I ended up picking Sandhagen. And what a way to win on the kind of kicks that we normally see from Moraes. Those glancing blows
that just have so much power in them.
Yeah, man, that rolling heel, that spinning heel kick that just it landed on the top of the forehead and just put him out, and was able to land some ground and pound that closed the deal. And Corey Sandhagen back in the win column.
Yeah, man. I had picked Marlon Moraes coming in just because I didn't like how Sandhagen looked in his last fight.
Yeah.
But coming in and hearing the pre-fight talk and stuff, and talking about how he went to a sports psychologist because he has he gets too hyped for the fight, and then by the time it's fight time he doesn't have adrenaline, it's a dump or whatever, and he just starts too slow. And this fight he kind of started that way in the first round, but you can see where he was kind of timing Moraes and where Moraes wasn't comfortable 100% of the time. And again, man, Sandhagen, he's a big dude, man, and he intimidates a lot of these bantamweights because he's so big and he's so long.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fast. He doesn't lose any speed on it. So Moraes usually has somewhat of a speed advantage sometimes, but he didn't have that here. And for him to put it together in the second round, man, I just felt that the confidence was growing for Sandhagen, and Moraes's body language was showing. Otherwise, he was shrimping up more. He was getting hurt more. He was trying to hide it. I think Sandhagen hit Moraes with a nasty body kick at one point, and you can tell that right after that, Moraes was covering his body,
mm-hmm.
which kind of led to that back kick. But it was beautiful, man. It was a beautiful ending sequence. Sandhagen has a lot of skills and moves with his striking, and this is a Sandhagen that's going to be a problem in the division. I mean, it really is. I say that a lot, but it really is, because if this Sandhagen shows up in the last fight it might be a different outcome, man. Because Sterling basically tamed the beast by sticking and moving, and he had a lot of movement in that fight, and he just outpointed him. And and in the end of the fight, he was tired, he was in trouble, but he won the fight. He won 2 out of 3 rounds at the very least. Was it oh no, he submitted him. My bad. But
oh yeah.
That was a submission, and that's why he went to the sports psychologist, because he fell into that when he felt he shouldn't have fell into that.
Mm-hmm.
Which one am I talking about? Where he was Rafael Sunsao. Sunsao was a 3-round decision. John Lineker was a 3-round decision. I guess that was a fight.
Yeah, I think you're just thinking of those two.
Hold on, who did
Sterling? I think because we're so used to seeing Sterling with these crazy strikes and getting some knockouts, but that was where he just basically backpacked Corey Sandhagen and didn't do anything.
Yeah, man. And so if we see this one, this version of Corey Sandhagen against Sterling, maybe it's a different outcome, man. Because this Sandhagen, he's not going to be easy to beat, man. I can tell you right now. Name the top 5 guys right now in the division.
Yeah, I'll give them to you real quick because I actually wanted to go there and to talk about that. So number 1, who's getting? So we have obviously Peter Yan as a champ.
Mm-hmm.
We have number 1, who's going to be challenging for the title, which is Aljamain Sterling. Number 2 is now Corey Sandhagen. Number 3 is now Marlon Moraes, who was before. So Marlon Moraes was number 1, but now he's not number 3. Aljamain Sterling was number 2, is now number 1, and Sandhagen was number 4, is now number 2. And then Cody Garbrandt's at 4, and then Frankie Edgar closes out the top 5.
So Sandhagen probably right now beats all of those. Maybe the fight with Sterling, the rematch is a closer fight. I don't know which way that goes. I would have to see how they both fight.
Would it be for a title though? That's the question.
Yeah, if Sterling wins, then Sandhagen probably gets that rematch. Right? Yeah, I mean, I probably would give it to him, and I'd want to see that fight. If Jan wins, I think Sandhagen beats Jan. Even no matter what Jan does to Sterling, if he's not out Sterling, I still think Sandhagen wins that fight. He probably beats Garbrandt. Even this new version of Garbrandt, which is the old version.
I would love to see that fight, though.
Yeah, I'd like to see that fight. That'd be a good fight. And he beats Frankie Edgar. I think he demolishes Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, I think so too. I think because the thing about Pedro and Munoz is they're both guys that just stand and bang with Frankie Edgar and Munoz, whereas I think Sandhagen is a little bit more technical. Has the more flashy moves that might surprise Frankie. Frankie is a little slower. He was getting hit with some big time bombs against Pedro Munoz recently. That was a close fight too. Like if I would like to see Munoz if Sandhagen was wanting to fight him, but I don't think Sandhagen. I think Sandhagen title or bust right now.
Agreed, man. Agreed. So we can both agree that Sandhagen's next fight is probably going to be for a championship.
Yeah, I would like it to main event if it could.
Which is crazy, man. It's crazy coming off of that loss to Sterling. But, I mean, the guys he's beat, dude, he's beat Rafael Sunsao, he's beat John Lineker, he's beat Mario Bautista, he's beat now Marlon Moraes. The only loss on his record is that submission to Sterling.
And I thought he was going to win that fight. I think I picked Sandhagen in that fight against Sterling.
I don't think I picked him just because Sterling, I think he had put it together. Yeah, with his wins again, Rivera and Munoz, Cody Stamann. Yeah, he was just. I mean, Sterling's just been on a run, man, and I don't think I picked him against Sterling, because I don't think to that point he had shown Sandhagen had the type of competition that Sterling has had.
Yeah, hey man, I mean. I'm down to see it. Like you said, it's crazy the fact that after coming off of such an embarrassing performance, that we're still talking about this guy as probably the top of the division, and that just speaks volumes to the kind of talent that he is.
Yeah, because nobody does it to Moraes, dude.
Yeah, that was beautiful, and Moraes is someone that I want to see get back to the mountaintop, man. I really do. And finally get that gold, he was so close against Cejudo. They had a great fight. He just was a little less better in that fight.
So I mean, if we're really looking at it, man, Moraes is almost like on a 3-fight losing streak because it's Cejudo, Aldo, even though he has a W on the record, and then Sanhagen.
But damn, like those 3 guys that have on your but that's that's the problem when you're at the top of the division, man.
And like, bantamweight, man. Yeah, you're gonna fight these guys that they're no joke, man.
You're fighting the toughest of the toughest. It is what it is. You just got to kind of take it as it comes. That's really all you can do. Mm-hmm. But there are a bunch of great fights that we have coming up this week, man. We have the long-awaited matchup of Brian Ortega and Korean Zombie.
Yeah, man.
This one might bring us a number 1 contender for the featherweight title.
I definitely think it should. The only reason why I say that is because if Ortega wins, it's not Holloway that's champion.
Yeah. So it's a new challenger.
Yeah, it's a new challenger, and it'll be a good fight against Volkanovski. If Korean Zombie wins, Korean Zombie has a lot of momentum and hype behind him right now, and he has a lot of fans. He has a lot of hardcore fans that have been following him. Yeah, and so he has a fan friendly style, man. I think this fight's going to be a good fight. I think if Zombie wins and he fights against Volkanovski, that'll be a great fight. That's a great matchup for both of those guys. So yeah, man, this is a big fight for both of them. Big technical fight. Zombie's going to want to keep it standing and have a stand-up war. But the interesting part is Zombie has some great jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Ortega's maybe on paper the better jiu-jitsu guy from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, but in MMA jiu-jitsu, maybe the Zombie takes it on the ground as well. So I don't know. It looks like Ortega got his hands full in this one. And this fight for me, man, just so you know, is very difficult for me to pick because I like both of these guys. So we'll see. I'm trying to pull up.
Sorry, I was getting my charger real quick because my laptop's about to die. But I was listening to everything you said, and we are not mentioning the personal aspect that this fight has. These two have been going at it for quite some time, since maybe end of last year, right?
Yes.
They were supposed to meet in Korea, but Brian Ortega had to drop out. And he ended up fighting Frankie Edgar instead, right before Frankie was on his way out of the division. I believe he got a knockout on Frankie, if I'm not mistaken.
Who did Zombie?
Yeah.
I don't know if he did knock him out.
Was it a knockout or was it a decision?
It was a knockout in round 1.
Yeah. So it was like a tune-up fight for him, waiting for Ortega. Ortega, if you don't know, slapped the shit out of Korean Zombie's translator at a UFC event one day. And ever since then, these guys have been trading barbs back and forth on Twitter. Basically, Ortega saying along the lines of you've been ducking me. Korean Zombie saying you were supposed to be there in Korea and you weren't. The pandemic stopping these two from meeting, but Dana finding a way to get these two finally in the octagon with Fight Island. It's gonna be exciting. And did you see the co-main event for this fight?
Yes.
Interesting.
Caitlin Chookagian against Jessica Andrade
in flyweight division.
In the flyweight division.
So this is Andrade saying, "I don't want the smoke at 115 anymore. I'm going to go ahead and go up to 125.
And I want the smoke there.
And I want the smoke there. And this is, oh man, but this is like one of those fights where I hate seeing this. This is a Cynthia Calvillo all over again. Jessica Ai, things like that, man, because there's no reason for Kagan to take this fight other than she's
Other than, I don't know, man, maybe she sees it as a easy fight for her. I mean, I think she has the skill set to duplicate what some others have done against Andrade and kind of keep her at a distance and move around, especially it's a regular size octagon, not the little octagon. So maybe she sees that. Maybe she sees that and says, "Hey, this is easy money," you know?
Maybe, man. But you know how these power girls are, man. It only takes one.
Former champion, dude. Former champion. She's been to the mountaintop. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking.
It's that part. It's that thing. It's not like, okay, so Jessica I and Cynthia Calvillo. There was no like chance, no fear of being knocked out by Cynthia Calvillo. Mm-hmm. It was all literally wrestling. Could Jessica I handle the wrestling? She couldn't, but that's a kind of a calculated risk that you take.
Mm-hmm.
This is not. This is all about if the right punch lands on the right spot,
you're going to sleep,
going out.
Yep. Or
Josh made a career of knocking out.
If the right slam happens on your head,
yeah,
you're getting.
I think the thing is, I think Chikagian probably outweighs her, and it's probably way bigger than Andrade.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't. Yeah, I still
in that second fight, Namajunas looked a lot bigger than Andrade. I don't know what it was, but she looked way bigger than Andrade in that second fight.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I don't know. Maybe Andrade is like, hey, I'm going to flyweight because I couldn't slam Namajunas the second time, so maybe I can get bigger. And now I got dogs barking. But yeah, I'm excited for this fight card. This looks fun. There's a couple other fights that look interesting. You got Jonathan Martinez making his return. I like to see Jonathan Martinez. I think he got the loss in his last fight, even though I thought he won. And you got Jillian Robertson returning in the flyweight division, but for some reason fighting someone who's not ranked. She's number 15. You should be looking up, not down. But hey, I'm not her manager. She's fighting Poliana Botello. I don't know anything about this woman, so
I
don't know. But you know, Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson's her staple, her calling card is, I'm gonna wrestle you for 3 rounds and dominate. So we'll see if she can do that to Poliana Botello. I'm actually looking at her. She's 8-2. Poliana Botello. Her last fight was against Mueller. Was a 3-round decision, and then before that was a submission loss to Calvillo. So that was in 2018. The fight against Mueller was in 2019, April 13th. So it's been a while, over a year since she's been in the octagon. Maybe Robertson is trying to capitalize on that.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. So Jenny Robertson. I mean, she just needs to fight too. She hasn't fought. When was the last time she fought?
She fought recently. She fought in I think she fought in the Apex, or was it Fight Island?
Fought in June against Courtney Casey on the Blades and Volkov card. So July, August, September, October. So 4 months ago. So she's trying to get some at least 2 fights in 2020. So that should be why she's trying. I guess why she's trying to fight, who she's trying to fight. But yeah, man. I mean, this card doesn't have too much on it that we know.
It's very top heavy.
But what I will say, man, is this is not 100% off topic, but the Brian Ortega Chang Sung Jung fight is a great fight, and it's very highly skilled guys. But I do have to, with being a connoisseur of combat sports, the best fight of the night is going to be in boxing on Saturday.
Oh yeah, we got Lomachenko.
So we have Vasily Lomachenko taking on Teofimo Lopez in a championship boxing fight. Both these guys are highly skilled. Lomachenko is a GOAT, legit GOAT. I don't just say it; I just throw that around. He is very, very skilled at boxing. He's like, if you put parameters into a program to build you a fighter, a boxer, Lomachenko comes out. And Lopez is in my opinion has that same potential, but I feel like this is Mayweather fighting Canelo, where he's catching him early before he gets in his final form.
Yeah.
but it should still be a super great fight. I'm gonna be going back and forth between these both fight cards, but I just wanted to put out there because I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about such a great fight that's gonna happen on Saturday. I know a lot of people hopefully know Lomachenko. A lot of people don't know Lomachenko. I know not a lot of people know Lopez, and they think it's gonna be a walk in the park. It's not. It's gonna be very competitive. So I just wanted to put that out there.
All right, I'll try to keep my eye on that too. But we are only one fight card away from October 24th, which is Khabib versus Gaethje. Can't wait for that. But we'll talk about that more next week, guys. But until then, I am your host, Alec Miller. You can find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. That is my man, Jesus. Catch him at The Real Jesus, spelled JeeZus. And hit us up there, guys, to talk about anything you feel like you want to talk about. We will be on there, periodically throughout the week. And we'll be back next week to break down Korean Zombie versus Ortega and to preview. We will try to go in depth into that Khabib versus Gaethje card because that is a top to bottom stacked card. So we will be breaking it down. Yeah, so we will get into that. And until then, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for listening on Spotify and anywhere else you get your podcasts at ANS Podcast and wherever you find us on YouTube, man, on Twitter. So we will see you guys next week. Peace out, guys.
Peace out, AMF.